and welcome to week number 3 of the 13-week book launch. I'm so glad you are back for more of the behind the scenes of what it takes to self-publish a book. My name is Eva Natiello, and I am the author of a self-published psychological thriller called The Memory Box, and I am also a book marketing and self-publishing consultant to authors both indie and traditionally published. So today is week 3. Last week I reviewed with you what my plans were for the entire week, and some of those things were finishing the back matter of the book, continuing to work on the cover design with my cover designer, create infographics from themes and quotes from the book, write an author Q&A, and finalize book club questions for the back matter. So I can tell you that you will probably not be incredibly impressed with me because I did not accomplish all those goals. But I was not surprised either, because these things happen, right? That's why I give myself 13 weeks to prepare a book for publishing. There are going to be weeks that you're going to hit snags. You're going to have to maybe learn how to do something for the first time, which takes a lot longer than you think. Or perhaps you're depending on other people, a designer, a proofreader, an editor, and you're on their schedule too. You have to keep them on their schedule. Or, you know, something didn't go as you planned and you have to maybe start over or take some steps back to move forward. So that's kind of what happened to me last week. I did get some things accomplished. I finished the book club Q&As, questions for book clubs and reader groups. So that's good. And I finished the acknowledgments, which is a page in the back matter. I did not create infographics, and I did not even begin the author Q&A because the author was not available. The author was spending lots of time on other things like the cover design. Cover design takes a long time. Give yourself some extra weeks. It could take months to do a cover design when you're working with a designer and you're trying to hone in on that really special visual, and you're trying different things, and also you're dependent on somebody else's schedule, so you have to build in extra time for that. This time around with this book, Following You, which I'm publishing in 10 weeks, I decided to do something new that I hadn't done before with the book cover. And I'm going to explain more about that either next Monday or the Monday after that, once the cover is finalized. And I'll explain more about my process, which was really interesting and daunting at the same time. So more on that in the future. So what's going to happen this week? Well, my proofread was just returned to me, and I'm so excited because it's very sparkly now. And in Word track changes, I'm going to go and review the proofread and review either reject or accept. You've used track changes most likely, and so you know what I'm talking about. And in this stage of proofreading, you're mostly accepting everything because the comments are not subjective, they're objective, they're punctuation, they're spelling, you know, so it's not really a lot to think about. You're mostly accepting everything. I guess I am a glutton for M-dashes on a personal note, and so it wasn't enough that my copy editor took out a slew of M-dashes. Some of them mysteriously got back into the manuscript, do not ask me how, and my proofreader rejected them, so she took them out, which is fine. So I don't know. I just love those things and I use them as much as possible, and I overuse them, I guess. So what am I going to do now that the proofread's done? The first thing I'm going to do is actually I'm going to take the first chapter of Following You, the new book, and I'm going to update the back matter of my published book, The Memory Box, and I'm going to put that first chapter into that back matter. And why am I doing this? When you have, hi Stephanie, when you have readers who are reading your other books that you've published and they really love what they're reading, what's the first thing they do when they finish your book? They are upset that it's over, they're so psyched to find and discover a new author, and they immediately go to see what else you've written, okay? And now, so The Memory Box was my first book, so that when my readers did that, they had nothing else to find, unfortunately. But now, with this new book coming out in November, Following You, that will be something they can read next. Now, it's not part of a series, but it is a psychological suspense. And so what I want to do is put the first chapter of Following You, or a sample, like if your first chapter is very, very long, you want to maybe take a sample of that and break it in an appropriate spot, and put that into the back matter of your first book with a link, with a buy link. So the link to one of your sales pages, so that reader can right then and there, she just finished the last word of your book, she loved it, she's so sad it's over, what else have you written? And now you have a link for her or him to click on and buy your new book, which is awesome. So you want to do this when your book is live. Hi, Chris. And when it's live and when it's up for sale. So maybe it's in pre-order or maybe you just launched. That's when you want to make this change to the back matter of your other book, when they can execute the sale. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to do, and hope to God that the spine of the memory box does not need adjusting. See, this is the problem when you add material to the back of a book that's already been published, a paperback, not an ebook, of course, because you can just add the file, it just gets bigger. But in a paperback, the spine of your book is created to be a certain dimension. So here's the memory box, and this spine here is a certain dimension, right? So if I add 8 pages, that may change, which means a whole new cover needs to be created, which would not be great. So I'm going to try and add as many pages as I can of Following You without having to really worry about changing the spine size and then changing the book cover. And that leads me to another thing I'm going to do this week, which is something very different than when I launched the memory box. So now that my proofread is done, and I am going to, hi Felicia, I am going to take the manuscript and work on the interior design of the book. Now, what does that mean? Okay, well, for a paperback, it means exactly that. Designing the interior pages, the chapter fonts, and, you know, laying it out, doing the formatting. With the memory box, I hired someone to do that. And I would do that again, except for, because it's kind of a, you know, one thing less that you have to learn to do. But the reason why I kind of want to do it on my own this time is it really gives you a lot of flexibility in the future if there are things that you have to change about the interior. So even though my book has been copy edited and proofread and read by me so many times I could probably recite it for you right now if you have a few hours, there will be typos in there, probably. There's going to be at least one. I don't know. We're taking guesses at how many we're going to find in there. But if that's the case, and I have, and it's brought to my attention there's a typo, I want to fix it right away. But do I want to go back to the designer of the interior every single time I need to make a change, and then he or she is charging me to make the changes? I have to wait for them to be available, and it's not just typos. Maybe I'm getting some awesome blurbs or reviews of the book, and I want to create a page at the beginning of the paperback with author blurbs or reviews that are really nice, or industry reviews that I want to include at the front. Or maybe my next book, which I'm writing right now and hopefully going to be finished with in a few months, I'll want to include the first chapter of that book into the back matter of this one. So again, I would like to have the control to make these changes as they come up, so I don't have to depend on someone else, and I don't have to keep paying over and over for the interior to be designed. They come up. So what does that mean? Oh gosh, I can't believe I'm taking this on, but I am going to format the book myself. I've purchased a template from thebookdesigner.com. They sell templates for a lot of things, and I got one for my interior, and I'm going to try that out. A lot of people use a company called Vellum. Also, that's for tackling this formatting on your own with a template, and they say that's really very seamless and easy. I don't know. I mean, I'm not good at this stuff, so I'm sure it's not going to be easy for me, but I'm going to try anyway. So that I'm going to start to do this week. And the other reason why I want to do that is as soon as I have a formatted interior and as soon as my cover design is finished, which I'm hoping will be in the next week or two at the very latest, I am going to create ARCs, Advanced Reader Copies, ARC. And ARCs are used for sending your book out before publication, months before publication, to people who are reviewers, maybe book bloggers, maybe other authors who you've asked to blurb your book. They need to read something, right? And it's really important to have a professional copy. So this ARC or a proof copy is what traditional publishers will send out. Well, I need to create that on my own, right? I need to create a suitable proof or ARC so that I can send out to reviewers and they say, wow, this looks pretty professional. I'm sure this isn't self-published. Let's see how many people I fool. So that's the goal there, is to really make your book look as professional as possible so people take you seriously, you know. I'm going to be reaching out to book bloggers, and I'm going to be reaching out to bookstagrammers. And if any of you know an awesome book blogger or bookstagrammer who you follow for recommendations and you think they've always are spot on with their recommendations, I would love to know about them. I would love to know their names. So feel free to put their names into the comments here, and I will definitely get a ARC out to them. Another way you can send ARCs out, a lot of people are not relying on the printed copies anymore. A lot of people ask for e-versions, which is a lot easier, of course, and a lot faster to send that out. You don't have to wait for them to be printed up and ship them anywhere. Shipping takes a really long time these days. And we'll talk more about how you get your e-version ready for the same purpose, for getting reviews, early reviews, and early PR. Now, the trickiest thing about creating these ARCs when you're indie, when you're self-publishing, is the timing, because you want to give these reviewers months, 2 months, 3 months. Some of them even require more. I will not be able to give more than that because, as you know, the book is launching on November the 16th, and we're 10 weeks out. So I only have 2.5 weeks, 2.5 months to play with at this point. So that's the trickiest part. In traditional publishing, ARCs are available more in advance. You know, they're ready maybe 6 months in advance, or maybe even longer. I don't know for sure. But now I've got, by the time the proof, the manuscript is really tight and proofread, and the cover design is done, I won't have that amount of time to work with. And also, you have to count in things like shipping and postage. shipping times, and how long it's going to take to get to your book bloggers. And hopefully more people are accepting e-versions these days. So I'm really kind of hoping for that. That is really what I plan to do this week. And maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is very ambitious. Some things that I'm teaching myself, so it will take a long time. But I'm hoping to get a lot of progress done this week so I can get those advanced reader copies out ASAP, because I'm really depending on getting some good bloggers reviewing the book or talking about it on their blogs or on their Instagram pages, etc. So that's what's in store for me. I would love to hear what you are working on this week. What are you tackling? What stage is your writing project in, and how's it going? So I would love to hear about it. Definitely leave comments and let me know how you're doing, or questions. I would love to answer your questions. And that's it for today on week number 3 of the 13-week book launch. I will see you next Monday at 3. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.